To begin our Yizkor service for a personal reflection, talking about an important loss in her life, we invite our JRC member, Nicki Bazer.
My friend and work partner, Shelly Anderson, died on August 11th, 2023. Shelly was misdiagnosed in November 2021 with breast cancer and then correctly diagnosed with metastatic melanoma. She began treatment that may have cured the cancer, but her body would not tolerate it, so she switched to treatment whose goal was to keep the cancer at bay. She was okay for a while, but in February 2023, the cancer spread to her brain. She had surgery to remove the largest tumor, and that was successful. She was diminished, but plateaued for a bit through the spring and into the summer. But when the cancer spread further, she was unable to fight it any longer. These details of her illness and death are meaningless to me. They slip through my fingers, and I cannot find Shelly in them. In the days and months after her death, I was asked to recount these specifics of her illness, often at length, to friends and to clients. These conversations left me exhausted, but I understood the need. Shelly was a very private person, and often the last time these people had seen her, she had been vibrant. These details were a way to try and make sense of her death, to hold on to it and to her. It is the assumption that when someone dies young, it will spur the living to seize the moment, to embrace life, or what other cliche you prefer. I found that in the time after Shelly's death, I felt stuck. As Shelly's family marked the first year after her death as birthdays and holidays passed without her, I marked the comings and goings of presentations we always gave together that now I gave alone, and projects that she had started and that now I finished. After celebrating with clients the successful closure of a complicated matter, I sat in my car and cried as this shared link to Shelly slipped away. The novelist Richard Powers writes, "Every remembrance, a prophecy in reverse. Time stays, we flow." For the first Yom Kippur after Shelly's death, I spent most of the service sitting in the courtyard with my friend Stacy Cloud, who had also experienced the recent loss of a friend. The book of Shelly's life had closed, and the liturgy felt too near. Last year, I made it inside and sat still with my grief. And this year, I will tell you about Shelly. Shelly was brilliant and worked harder than anyone, and was in turn deeply impatient with stupidity and laziness. One of Shelly's clients, who I occasionally subbed in with, once introduced me as Shelly's alter ego. Hands down, the best introduction of my professional career. I was the Clark Kent to Shelly's Superman. A few months after Shelly's death, there was a tragic death of a high school student at one of the school districts Shelly worked with, and Kevin, an administrator there, called to tell me about it. He said that the student body took the death hard, and one of the things that he did to help the students was to bring in emotional support dogs for a few days to help the students grieve. Kevin told me that the district's ability to bring in the dogs was because Shelly had worked closely with them to set it up to be in place in case of a tragedy like this. To clear all the legal obstacles, identify a support group, and arrange for all the right contracts to be in place. It was because of her that these students were able to process loss in this way. I think about this story quite a bit. It encapsulates so many things about Shelly. Her absolute dedication to her clients and meeting their needs, her creativity in solving problems, her commitment to working hard to support students, as well as her love of dogs, particularly the large, hairy, and slobbery ones that occupied her home. Kevin said as he watched the students lying on the floor with these amazing animals, he could feel all of Shelly's love. What a rare and lucky thing to have a pal to go through your workday with, to text and to call and to share the questions, the ups and downs, the victories, the frustrations. Unimaginably lucky to have that pal be Shelley. We texted and called each other during the workday constantly to check in, to ask questions. One day, we were playing phone tag to the point that I had to ask, "Do you need to talk to me or do I need to talk to you?" Shelley answered, "Both, always." The songwriter, Patty Griffin, sings that the sun, in more ways than one, will shine a different way tomorrow. I think that this, more than anything, describes how I felt after Shelley's death. I saw Shelley a few days before her death, so I knew that the end was close, but her husband's call to tell me that she had died still left me breathless with shock. And the next day, although everything carried on, but for me, it was irrevocably altered. And although the sun still shines, the world for me is different without her. It would be wonderful if I could end this for you with profound insight into what I have learned from Shelley's death. Susan Sontag writes that nothing is more punitive than to give a disease a meaning. I tend to agree. I find no meaning in Shelley's death, which I can describe no more eloquently than stupid and pointless. But I will share a couple small things that I feel. Shelley was Jewish, and I was always trying to get her to come to JRC, 25% because I thought this would be the perfect community for her, and 75% because I wanted to earn a JRC recruitment sweatshirt. Shelley put this off, and when she got very sick, she did not want to make plans for her funeral, holding out hope until the end. Her husband called me in a panic about where to hold the funeral and what the service should look like. So I called the rabbi, and then I called Mickey. And in the way only JRC can, the funeral, led by Rabbi Eleanor Smith, was beautiful and perfect. For me, in the planning, I had the sensation of trying to wrap JRC around Shelley's family. I am always grateful that we have this community, never more so than in that moment. The last time I saw Shelley, when she was dying, I told her that I loved her. I find myself now much more ready to tell friends what they mean to me, to thank people or offer praise and compliments when something is appreciated or moves me, even with acquaintances or strangers. In this way, I suppose I have learned to seize the moment. When I told Shelley I loved her, she squeezed my hand, and in that memory, I can find her and hold on to her.